Well, I'm assuming you're here. Alright, well, let's get into it. Well, first you need to have opened up Visual Studio. This is a 2015 version, but 2017 should be something similar. Now you want to start a new project. Good chance to load up. Now you just go under Visual Basic, Windows Form Application. Pick what you want to call it and type it down here. So let's just call it temp logger. Now that's not what the application is called, that's just what the project is called. Alright, now this is a Windows form, so let's go ahead and start dragging some stuff on. We're going to need 2 group boxes. Let's just size them accordingly. Alright, so just drag them across. Now I'm going to change the text, so across here you can see text for group box 1. If I just call that connection, that's connection up here. Group box 2, if I just do the same thing, call it control. Alright, now if I click on the form, it's the same thing again. I can just change the form, so I'll call it temp logger. Something simple. Now, if it's going too fast, just pause it and catch up when you can. Alright, let's add some buttons. Buttons. Alright, so we'll need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll also need 2 drop-down boxes. We'll find the drop down boxes, combo box, there you go. 1, 2. So I'll just resize it. Well, you can decorate it at the end or whatever you'd like to do. Let's start calling the button something. So let's change the text on one of the buttons to connect. Make this one disconnect. You can call the buttons whatever you want. That's got nothing other than a visual cue. Open Excel. Log. Stop. Alright, so there, that's basically what it's going to look like. Alright, now we need to name these buttons. So under Design, on the Properties tab, you'll see there's button 1. Let's just call that CMT button. Again, what you name doesn't really mean anything. You just want to sort of, have some sort of pattern to them, so you know what they are. I'm trying to get a mix of speed and ability to follow. So like I said, if it's going too fast, you're going to have to just pause it, because it could become a long video if I take it slow. Alright, so connection, we'll call that one, let's find the name of it. Accessibility. There you go, design name, same spot, just a bit harder to find. Alright, let's call that port box. And this one here, int box. That's going to be the interval box. So up here, the ports that are available on your computer is going to appear. Down here, we're going to fill it up with some intervals. So like if you want 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, or whatever you might want, you put it in here. That would give you the different polling intervals. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll just fill this one up quickly. So if you come onto this side, you'll find items collection. Now, whatever you type in here becomes what you can select. So 1, 2, 5, 10, whatever. So that's 1 second, 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds. And it can be whatever you want, but it's in milliseconds. Alright. Okay, so now what we're going to do is double click on that, and it gives us up where you can put all your code. And this Form 1 load, that is like your setup in your Arduino. Put some spaces between this stuff. Now if I double click on that, it creates an event for clicking on that button. So if you want something to happen when you click that button, you stick it in here. And I'll do that for the rest of the buttons, double clicking on them. Alright, we're getting somewhere. Now over here, down the bottom, you'll find under components, you can find serial port, just drag it in. What you'll see, it pops in down here. And timer, just do the same thing and it pops in down here. Now if you click on this timer, and then just double click on it, it's got timer 1 tick, which is what you want to see. Beautiful. So all the code is going to go in here. Now we have to link up, alright, now we have to link up to Excel. So what I need to do is go to Project, Temp Logger Properties, or it'll be whatever you've saved your project as, Properties. Alright, now if you look down here, you're going to see Resources, References, References, you just go Add, it brings up all these, you just go to Com, you go Browse, you go to Com. So in here, if you've got Excel installed, you'll find in here, you'll see Microsoft Excel. So Microsoft Excel 16.0. If you've got an earlier version of Excel, it'll appear as a different number. So it'll either be like 10, 12, 14, and 16, whatever it may be. But if you plan on using it on an older version of Excel in the future, you need to write the program in the oldest version of Excel that you can, because when you've got an older version, this smaller number appears, and it's not backward compatible, but it's forward compatible. Alright, so now it's in here, we can use it. Alright, so then we go back across to VB. Now, we need to start putting some code in. Now, everything you do above here, it's like where you add your library. So I'm going to go Imports. Now, Imports is just adding your library. So we'll go Microsoft.Office. Imports. Microsoft.Office.core. Imports Microsoft.Office. Whatever that is. Alright, now once you've got that in, you need to go down a bit more and we'll just start creating some variables. Alright. I'll explain in a second what all this stuff is. Alright, so dim Excel, that is going to be the Excel link that you provide between the two between the VB application and Excel. So that'll make an instance of Excel when it loads up. My ports, that's an array. If you know what an array is from Arduino, it's like a list of items. Now that's going to be all stored in my ports, and that's going to be all the port numbers that's available to you. Now temp, that's not like a temporary file, that's going to be stored the temperature from my Arduino device. Now tau is my time interval for my timer. It's important to set one when you first boot up in case you accidentally don't have one set for the timer tick, and it prevents a crash. Alright, so we'll keep moving down. So if you hit try, what this try does is it prevents the program from crashing if it can't do something. Now, so I'm going to keep going on. My ports equals IO dot ports dot serial port. Where is it? It's going to be down. Dot get port names. Alright, so that puts in the array all the port names that you have available. So now I'm going to make the port box equal all the port names. Now what that line just did is just get the my ports array and stick it in the port box. Remember, the port box was one of those combo boxes that we stuck in there. And then what I'm going to do, port box dot selected item equals port box dot items 1. Now when it boots, it should always click it down, because if you don't have that in there, it starts off blank. Okay, so keep going down. We're going to have to do a couple more things in here. So we need to get the stuff ready for the serial port. So we want the serial port dot baud rate. So this baud rate is like with what you need to set this to be what you've set your baud rate on your Arduino to be. So in my case it's 9600, but yours is going to be whatever you've made it to. Now you need to set some read timeouts. If you don't set read timeout, what's going to happen, if your Arduino fails to respond and it's expecting a response, it will just hang and the program will eventually just crash. Same with the write timeout. Alright. Now if you leave that there and keep going down, so we want something when the connect button does something. So again, we'll put a try in, put everything in a try. You're going to want to write serial port 1 dot port name equals port box dot selected item. So this sets the port name for the selected item. Now that opens the port, and what we'll do is, so you can tell that you push the button, we'll just change the background color of the button. Alright, so when you hit that button, it's going to open up a port for the port name that's selected in the port box and turn the button color red. Alright, so we'll put 2 tries in this one. First one, we're going to go timer 1 dot stop. Now if the timer 1's going, if the timer 1's going, it'll stop it. But if it's already stopped, it'll just go, oh, I can't do it, and keep going. Now there's probably a little bit better way of doing it, but for the purpose of this tutorial, to make it short and sweet, or short and sweet as I can, I will just do it quickly. Alright, so we'll do serial port 1 dot close. That's it for that one. So that one opens, this one closes. Now this one is, we're going to get ready for XL. This is going to bring up XL. So this one's going to be just XL dot visible equals true. See, what was happening before is XL was open in the background, but you just couldn't see it. Something in the log button, so I'm going to say timer1 dot interval equals tau. Now I'm going to reset the variable tau at the top. I'm going to go timer1 dot start, and I'm going to also change the button color so you know when it's running. Well, that's one thing I didn't do on the disconnect button, is change the color back of the button. Right, so when it's on, it's red. When it's off, it goes back to light grey. Now, so the log button will do that. The stop button is going to be pretty much the same. Should have put this one in the timer. So we'll go ahead and do that. You can just cut and paste this stuff around if you make a mistake. If you get a red squiggly line, it means you've made a mistake underneath it, somewhere on your thing. It could be an undeclared variable, or it could be just a mistake in your code. Alright, so the stop button will be the timer 1 dot stop. As easy as that. And then we need to change the colour of the button back to grey. Alright, now this is the timer. So every time the timer goes ahead and does something, it's going to run this. So at every tick of the timer, so every interval of the timer, this is going to go off. So there's a bit to type in here, so I'm just going to cut and paste some stuff in, which is off my screen, which you can't see, and then I'll explain what it does. Alright, so one of the codes that I have in the Arduino is $TP. So when I write $TP to the Arduino, it will respond with the temperature. Now, I've declared a variable at the top, remember temp. Now that's going to be filled. That's going to be equal to the serial port 1 read line. So it's going to write a line, then it's going to read a line. That's what that means. Then it's going to fail out, and then it comes down here and it's going to interact with Excel. So what it's going to do is the active Excel cell, it's going to activate. Then it's going to fill it up with now. Now is the time and date. Then it's going to go across and it's going to go that 0 is the row. So it's going to say, it's going to stay in the 0, then it's going to go across 1. And then it's going to write in that cell. So every time you've got formula R1C1, it's going to write into a cell. Now it's going to put temp in there. Then it's going to go down. So it's going to offset again. Every time you've got offset, it's moving around on the screen. So it's going to go down 1 row and back 1 column, and then it's going to start again when you do the timer tick. Then it's going to write line, read line, and then do this. So if you want to have more things dumping, just add more lines here, and you'll effectively put as much stuff as you want. You've just got to change this column, this row and column, and it'll move it along. And I'll show you at the end how you get it to how it works. Alright, so that's pretty much all the code for that little bit. We do have to do something for this. So what I'm going to do is double click on this. Alright, we're going to have to do something for this. So what I'm going to do is if I go across here, you'll see this lightning bolt. Now if I find one that says selected item changed and double click on it, it's going to bring in this bit of code here. Now this here will every time you change what's selected, it'll do something here. Alright, what we're going to do is this control for the interval. I'm going to make it so you can have the different intervals. So what I'm going to do is go down here, look for where it has selected item change, selected value changed. Yeah, so if I go selected value change to there and just double click on that, bang, it puts this in here. Now all I've got to do is do tau equals intbox dot text. So whatever's in the, every time you change that is going to change the interval. Now you can have set that to whatever you want it to be. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. I don't see any red marks. If you made a mistake where it's all yellow, it'll be all red. Or it'll have red blocks in it. So if I save that, alright, I'll just run it and I can show you how it works. Alright, so it's just booted up on the other screen. Let me open up Excel. If I push that button, it's also loaded up on my other screen. So I'll just open up a new one. So pick where you want it to start. Now I know my COM port for my Arduino is COM port 4, so I can hit connect. So that's open the port. Then I can just pick my interval. So I'll pick 5 seconds. I'll get it to go. So every 5 seconds, if you wait 5 seconds, it'll dump. There you go. So it's not 2000. That must be just a bit of garbage put in there. And there you go. It's 20.4 degrees. So there you go. That's working. So I'll stop that. Just be careful. A smaller interval will this really tight small intervals might make your program a bit buggy, depending on how fast your computer is or whatnot. But so look, it all depends on what you're trying to log. But I don't generally recommend anything under 5 seconds. But obviously you can try and do whatever you want. Alright, so I'm going to end this part here, and I'll make part 3, and I'll show you how to get the program out of here, and as an install file that you can just use without using Visual Studio to run it. Alright, thanks.